Well, today was the Advancers Day. The cut to make it ended up being minus 109, and of all 1,331 competitors in the U18 boys division, this meant only 191 advanced. I stayed the extra day to watch the Advancers round because I had many friends that had made this cut and I wanted to see them, as well as many others bowl. I didn't make it. Overall, I fell 38 pins short, and yes, it was devastating, but in the world of bowling, you win some and you lose some. Now, I can't speak on the matter of how the patterns and conditions were, but I have a few people with me who can. With me today are Jem Carpenter, Riley Spear, Gabe Castro, and Mats Thunberg. All of these guys not only made it to the Advancers round, but also to the final Advancers, and are here to tell me about their experience on the lanes and what they felt and saw. So, how many years have you been bowling in Junior Gold?
This was my first gold. I started in last September, got a phase 2 for my birthday, and then got into bowling.
It's interesting. So, what was the goal for this year? Make the TV show, make match play, make advancers, cash cut,
I want to go.
not throw it in the gutter every
I want to
shot?
go my.
Okay, you could go.
I don't think I ever want to throw to the every shot, but the goal was to go minus 200 in qualifying because I figured I was a low 190 sport average on other conditions and at leagues and whatnot. So doing essentially very equivalent to that goal would be a big goal, and essentially just confirm that I'm a good bowler.
Based on how you were doing during the week, did you expect to make the advancers cut by the time qualifying had ended?
Yeah. So the first day I was at Thunderbolt and went like minus 27, which was a pretty good start. Then I went even at score. Then I went plus 22 at Super Bowl. That was like minus 5 heading into the last day. So I felt like as long as I didn't bowl a 650 block, I was pretty safely in the cut. And I bowled like a 752 block and was like minus 48. So I felt pretty good that I would make cut, and I ended up making it.
Tell me how you thought the pattern played like during advancers round 1.
It felt like it was pretty easy. Super Bowl in general's a easier house just due to the amount of friction, how fast the track burns up there. So it was very much just throwing urethane a lot, because if you got it out to 2, it would come back and almost 4 pin. If you also missed it inside and only got to like 10, it would hang in the oil. So I essentially just threw the purple, and then that was extremely high scoring, so worked out.
So what did you bowl for the block then?
I went plus 157, so
Holy hell.
very,
okay.
yeah, there's the reason why I said it was easy.
How many years have you been bowling in Junior Gold?
This is my 6th year bowling Junior Gold. I bowled my first one in Dallas in 2018, and I've bowled every single one since.
Nice. So what was the goal for this year? Like make the TV show, make match play, make the cash cut? I don't know.
Basically, my goal for this year was really just to be happy with my performance. Like, I didn't really have an exact number to go for. Like, anything past advancers I was going to be pretty happy with. But yeah, I didn't really have like an exact goal in mind. Like, would have been happy making final advancers, and then anything past that was just extra. But yeah, I really just wanted to be happy with how I physically threw it and how I handled the week.
Based on how you were doing during the week, did you expect you'd be in 3rd and in the advancers cut by the time qualifying had ended?
Honestly, not really. Like, I knew I bowled well, but like, I don't know. I feel like bowling that well, just like, I kind of set the standards like where I more thought about the bad shots I threw. Like, even though my scores were good, I more reflected on the 9 counts or like the splits I had. So like, I didn't actually feel like I bowled as good as the standings reflected.
Now you made it. You made it to advancers round 1. Tell me how you thought the pattern played, because I heard it was relatively easy, but of course I wasn't really bowling that. So how do you think that pattern played?
Yeah, honestly, like, I expected them to put out something pretty hard for advancers, which usually they do. Like last year, the advancer pattern was just impossible.
Yeah,
but I threw like 3 shots in practice and watched my urethane ball hook straight off the gutter on all 3 of them. And as soon as I saw that, I figured the advancer pattern was just a little too easy. And then, like, I physically just didn't. I bowled fine, but physically I feel like I threw a lot of bad shots and still ended up going plus at like plus 25, which I feel like usually 10-25 is a really good set for advance around and I was still like 50 behind pace.
What were your ball choices for that pattern?
All 50 frames, purple hand. Didn't even consider going reactive on that pattern, honestly.
What's up? So how many years have you been bowling in junior gold?
So I started back in 2020. I was supposed to go to Vegas, but then COVID happened, so they didn't have it. But then the year after that, when it was in Indianapolis, that was my first year.
So what was your goal for this year? Like make the TV show, make match play, make the advancers cut, not dumping into the gutter every shot. What are we thinking?
Well, every year, I obviously want to improve on the previous year. Last year, I only made first cut. This year, I wanted to make match play at least, but I fell 4 spots short of that. So it was a little disappointing, but we'll be fine.
Yeah, you still ended up doing really good. Based on how you were doing during the week, did you expect to be in 10th and in the advancers cut by the time qualifying ended?
I mean, going into junior gold before seeing any of the patterns, no. But after the practice sessions, I felt pretty confident about most of them that I can go plus on all of them, which I did. But I mean, going into junior gold, you never really know what to expect. But this year, I felt good going into it.
Well, you ended up making it. So tell me how you thought the pattern played like during advances round 1. Like, how do you think that one went?
The right side, oh my gosh, it looked so easy over there. I was considering backup balling, but there was enough on the left to keep me on the left side, which I shouldn't have done, but it's okay. But the left side was pretty difficult. I mean, it was doable, but it was just once the right side transitioned, it looked really nice on the right side, and the left side never transitioned. So it was a little tight. It was a lot tighter than what the righties had. Hence why I went -4. But we got through that round.
How many years have you been bowling in junior gold?
This is my second year bowling it.
What was the goal for this year? Make the TV show, make match play, don't dump it in the gutter every shot. What are we thinking?
It's always don't dump it in the gutter every shot, but the goal this year was to make match play kind of more of a stretch goal. I knew I could do it. I knew I had a chance, but realistically, I really just wanted to make the top 64, the final advancers round. But I knew if I bowled well, there was a chance I could make match play too.
Based on how you were doing during the week, did you expect to make the advancers cut by the time qualifying had ended?
After the first day at Thunder Bowl, which was some bad execution and bad spare shooting going 97 under, I got really in my head, especially within the couple of hours after bowling, and I wasn't even sure if I was going to make the first cut. I knew I would have to have some big blocks coming up. It did help that was the hardest pattern and the most low scoring, so it didn't absolutely kill me, even though it did hurt. But going to score the second day and going 97 over to put myself back at even definitely helped, and then I was able to have a better mindset and had a good chance at making the first cut.
Alright, that's good. So you made advancers, whoop-de-doo. So tell me how you thought the pattern played during round 1 of advancers.
I come out of the gate during the practice session. I throw a couple shots with the iron, so I benchmark ball off the gutter, and it hooks a lot. So I'm thinking it didn't hook super early where I think it's something really short, but it felt like it was probably around 38 feet, somewhere around there. I tried moving left, but just kept ripping off the spot, so I go to urethane, and I felt like I had a lot of room. It almost felt like it was a mix between this pattern at Century, the short pattern, and the pattern at Score, the more medium short pattern, where it had room out to the gutter, but if you missed in, it would almost push a little too far, and you maybe go light, maybe a bucket or a 2-pin or a 2-8. It definitely wasn't that hard. It didn't help that I shot 181 game 1, and I got in my head a lot there because I knew it was definitely a scoreable pattern, and I needed some scores to try to make the match play cut. So it wasn't that bad. I was able to pick it back up, and I think I went 72 over for the block, so it was not that bad of a pattern.
Finish advancers round 1. I forgot to turn the mic on. I'm joined here by Joshua Sachs, Nicholas Sachs, Kai Nitschke, and Tyler Williams. Josh, how are we doing today?
We're doing great. How are you, Noah?
Oh, I'm feeling quite well.
That's amazing.
Thank you. How do you bowl today?
Very mediocre. My score says I went 90 over, but it didn't show that I gutted twice in the last game and missed like 10 single pins, but it's fine. We're going to be close to the cut, but we're probably going to be about 30 out. That's just my guess.
All right, that's a good guess. Hope you don't make it. Nick, how are we doing today?
Hope you don't make it crazy.
Not accomplished. That's what I'm feeling right now. So yeah, that's how we're doing.
You think you're gonna make it in?
Definitely not. It was unfortunately, I wasn't a house hack, so I went 40 something under today. Was unfortunate and missed cut probably because I sold the block.
Kai, my glorious king. You think you're making it?
Nah. I mean, the block itself for today was like, all right, I was plus 50. But I was already minus 100 because I made it into the cut by 6 pins. So, for chance, actually. Yeah,
For chance.
because I saw a lot of 900s around. I was high on my pair by like 100. So, yeah, it's bozo right here.
900.
All right, let's pass it over to Tyler Williams.
Hello.
Hi, Tyler.
How are we doing, Noah?
I'm doing quite well.
Indeed. Unfortunately, first time in like 1,000 years, advancers round was a house shot. It's never happened before. I went -9 because I'm not a house hack.
Okay, bud.
For real. Best average tournament I've ever bowled. Averaged 190 the whole time. Very pleased.
You like shot like 1040 in your qualifying.
Oh, yeah.
1040. Yeah.
Talking about.
Yeah, bro.
I've changed my ways.
Better.
Fortunately, I'm a sports shot bowler now. I can't bowl on this. My prediction is that it was 38 foot, 75 to 1.
Yeah.
You made it to Advancers Round 2, so that's a big accomplishment. Tell me how you thought that pattern played now.
I felt like it played very similar to Thunderbolt. It felt like it was on the lower ratio side. I did not throw a whole lot of good shots because at that point I was essentially like, I would need a 1250 block to make match play. So I was very much just enjoying the moment, was just going to throw shots and have fun. So I went like -100 that block. I probably could have went even if I was actually trying and chasing good ball reaction. But
Are you happy with how you finished out this year's Junior Gold?
very, I wanted to go -200 and I went positive and bowled 10 more games than I expected to. So very good year.
All right, so you ended up making it to Advancers Round 2, so that's pretty good. Tell me how you thought that pattern was.
First couple shots in practice, I thought they were going to be impossible because they felt extremely long. Like my first practice shot, I just wanted to get a test of the length. So I threw my cleanest ball about 10 miles an hour, straight up 20, and it went about 50 feet down the lane. So I knew they were going to be pretty tricky when I saw that, but I didn't really find anything in practice, and then just blind guessed, decided to throw urethane yet again, just to kind of control the front part of the lane, because every reactive ball I threw almost made it feel like a reverse block, where there was 100% of speed bump on that pattern. Didn't want to see any of it down lane, but if I played outside toward the gutter, it read at my feet. So I tried urethane to kind of blend that out, and it worked somewhat decently.
I heard a lot of people were comparing that pattern to the one at Thunderbolt. Do you think that's a...
Yeah, that's probably a pretty fair comparison. I'd say, I don't know, I'm not 100% sure if the Thunderbolt pattern had a speed bump or not, because there was a decent amount of shape. The final Advancer pattern was probably a little bit flatter, less volume around the gutter, or more volume around the gutter, sorry. But yeah, I feel like that's a pretty fair comparison.
Are you happy with how you finished out this year's Junior Gold?
Very happy, yeah. I mean, anytime you get to bowl match play at Junior Gold is an incredible finish.
That's a huge
I
accomplishment.
definitely exceeded my expectations this year. So I'm pretty pleased with how this year went.
You ended up making it to Advancers too. How do you think that pattern played like?
Looking at it, looking at the oil machine going down the lane, everybody could tell that was going to be a long pattern and it was going to be flat. There was just a bunch of oil out there. So I expected it to be like, I don't know, 45, 47 feet and just flat.
I heard
But-
a lot of people were comparing it to the pattern at Thunderbolt. Would you say that's kind of?
Yeah, I mean, maybe a little higher volume than Thunderbolt, just because, I mean, it would go 60 feet if you threw it straight down the middle. But yeah, I mean, yeah, Thunderbolt is a pretty good comparison.
So overall, are you happy with how you finished out this year's Junior Gold?
I mean, could lie to you and say yes, but me complaining about getting 20th in Junior Gold sounds really bad. But I obviously wanted more and wanted to make match play and try to see how long I can take it. So I will say yes, I am proud of where I've ended up, but I'm still mad about where I ended up. Should that make sense?
Now you made it to Advancers round 2. Tell me how you thought that pattern played. I hear that one was a little weird.
That pattern was weird. It's hard to describe. It was hard, but easy at the same time. Because sometimes you would miss, and the ball would, you'd miss out, and the ball would come back fine. Like, miss out a board or two, nothing, huge. But you'd miss out a board or two, and it would come back fine. And then you'd miss out a couple frames later, and the ball would miss the head pin right. If you threw a good shot, it would be good. But on the miss, you just would never know if your ball was going to come back or if it wasn't. I think the pattern played easier than how it was built because at Super Bowl, the gutters hook.
Yep.
And the gutters bounced on every single pattern we bowled on. Both Advances round patterns. And if you got close enough to the gutter, I saw some people do decent on the long pattern there during qualifying, but it was definitely tricky on the gutter.
I heard a lot of people were comparing that pattern to the one we had at Thunderbolt. Would you say that's a good comparison?
It was definitely similar. I didn't play the gutter on it. I played a little tighter. I was maybe crossing the arrows at 16, 17, going out to around 9 or 10. I wasn't going all the way out to the gutter. I was keeping it a little tighter. It looked good. It definitely didn't help that it was super hot in there because my ball would come back super oily all the time. And the first shot of the game would hook and look good. Then the second shot, the ball would be all oily and it wouldn't hook, so then you'd have to adjust from there. But I think there was a lot of different lines you could play in that pattern. It was tricky, but it was definitely scoreable. It was, I think, way too scoreable of a pattern for the final Advancers round.
So that wraps it up. Are you happy with how you finished out this year's Junior Gold?
I am pretty happy about how I finished. I think I could have finished better if I would have started with a better block at Thunderbolt. So I'm looking at trying to make match play next year, but for this year, definitely happy with how I finished.